Video was digitized from a roll of 8mm film, and there was no description on the film, but the film did have a Kodak process date of March 1962, and this is definitely Norfolk Shipyard, and just from other film that was on this reel. This is it's being filmed from the USS Boxer LPH-4 when she was in dry dock there in Norfolk. So this is probably late 1961, November, December, early January, February, March 1962. And the ship right there in the foreground, right next to Boxer, is a USS Corry DD-817, and she was a Gearing class destroyer, and she was launched in 1945. And it actually looks like there's several of those Gearing class destroyers, although I can't make out their hull numbers. See in the background the carrier number 55. That's USS Casablanca CVE-55, and she was launched in 1943, and then you have the USS Newport News, which is hull number 148. It would have been CA-148, and she was a Des Moines class heavy cruiser, and she was launched in 1948. You can make out any other vessels here in the shipyard, please comment. And although it does start off here in black and white, it shifts here in a minute to color footage, which really makes the shipyard pop. You can just see by this video, Norfolk Shipyard and the base there is just massive. I never pulled in there, but I was on a ship in Portsmouth, which is right beside it, and we used to have to steam in and out right past the shipyard. And you know, when you're going past all the vessels that are there, the destroyers, all the escorts, the submarines, the carriers, it's massive. And you know, I've been to San Diego many a time on the West Coast, the big naval base there too, and it's both of them are just impressive when you sail by all the naval assets that are there. See, we're getting into the color footage, and you know, back in the early '60s, you could buy either color or black and white 8mm film, and I'm sure the 8mm or the black and white film was much cheaper than the colored film. And you know, this young Navy, I think he was a third class petty officer that filmed this, and probably on limited budget, but I'm glad he eventually sprung for the color film here. It makes it for a lot nicer viewing. And here we are. This is footage of the Boxer, USS Boxer LPH-4, and the individual that filmed this was stationed on Boxer. And this is from the flight deck, and you can see it's going through its yard period here. It's a nice shot of one of the Boxer's anti-aircraft guns there on the main deck, up on the flight deck. And that ship there is the USS John R. DE-1034, and she was a Claude Jones class destroyer escort, and she was launched in 1958. So pretty young in that picture there. That bigger ship right across the pier there is the USS Francis Marion APA-249. She was a Paul Revere class attack transport, and she was actually built as and launched in 1954 as the SS Prairie Mariner, Prairie Mariner, and then she was acquired by the Navy in 1959 and commissioned in 1961. So she's probably going through her uh, military conversion right there from a civilian ship to a military ship in Norfolk Shipyard. The Boxer's actually come out of the yards here, and she's steamed over to the fuel pier, and you can see that the fuel pier or fuel depot there is uh, is pretty well submerged in water. They had some serious flooding down in Norfolk and Virginia in this time frame, and you could see uh, a lot of those because they're kind of walled in to hold in fuel spills. Well, I guess it also holds in water, and you can see everything looks pretty swamped there. You have a close look at this freighter coming in. You could tell there's definitely something the matter with her. She's listing heavily to her port side, and uh, and then you can see she's being escorted in by a Coast Guard patrol boat. And I really can't tell. It looks too small to be a 40 foot, but I'm not too sure. It really doesn't look like a 95 foot. But I guess if I had a guess, I would say a 95 foot WPB. But you can definitely tell there is something the matter with that freighter, and she's being escorted in. And here's a good picture of the fuel pier and the fuel manifold and the lines coming down to fill Boxer. I don't know how much fuel she took. I would say she's, well into the million gallon range, but if you know, comment. And that carrier there is USS Forrestal CV-59. And you'll see a little better close up here in a minute. And obviously she was a super carrier, and she was uh, commissioned in 1955. This is Boxer on the flight deck, and that's a Sikorsky H-34 helicopter, which she carried many of those during this time frame. Looks like she's getting ready to come out of the fuel pier here, and there's a couple of Navy YTBs getting ready to help her get away from the pier and get underway. Yeah, now that little freighter right there looks like it needs a Coast Guard escort. And here we have the USS Essex CV-9. Mm, She was uh, the first in her class of the Essex class carriers, and she was commissioned in 1942. And here we have a submarine. I'm just going to guess at the class of this. I think it's a Seawolf class, but these submariners out there, let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this piece of history, and uh, like and subscribe if you'd like to see more military and patriotic videos, which I try to upload every other day on my site. And if you're interested in a good read, check out my books at www.edsemler.com.